draft then? Because once again, Grace is obviously going to be a big focus of the draft, as it has been in basically every game of the Vainglory8 since it came into the meta. You know, since the hero has been available for the Vainglory8, it's been a big focus. Like, how are these guys going to be tailoring their drafts going forward? What are we expecting as comfort picks? Like, what is the general expectation, Suije?
Yeah, for them, they liked picking up Baron. Idris is normally a lot of the hard carries like Kavalavar's on. For jungler, Samuel is picked a lot. Supremacy is going to go ahead and ban the Grace here, which makes a lot of sense. They tend to ban Grace and Blackfeather, so let's see if Supremacy will be banning that Blackfeather out. And SK picks up that Grumpjaw. Man, exciting here because I haven't seen Grumpjaw picked and played in a while.
So, Bastion and Radha have both been subbed out for this game. We've got Little Godfather and Captain and Conboy in jungle. Conboy, we saw him play as a sub in the carry position before. Last season, Cyclone had a lot of success early and kept shuffling their rosters, and the success fell off. I feel like the roster shuffles are still very much a theme now that they're Supremacy.
Yeah, it's always kind of been a thing with this. The full lineup is they just constantly are changing out who's actually starting. Last season, they didn't have a single 2-week period where they used the same roster or same starting lineup 2 weeks in a row. That trend has thus far continued into the summer season, and it's something that you have to worry about because the synergy is a real question.
Yeah, the question is whether they can prepare with all 5 of these members so that when they sub in, they are still a strong team.
Yeah, it's surprising that they banned Baptiste here when he's a jungler and Grumpjaw with Lauer is extremely strong. They're going to hand over Grumpjaw-Lauer composition over to SK, that's actually really dangerous to give such a strong jungler early game along with a strong healer in the early and mid game as well. So Supremacy here, you know, they need to decide like what is going to work against a Grumpjaw composition. Someone that's tanky and not too squishy. They have known to pick like Blackfeather, etc. And they're going to go with a Vox here. And they played Vox actually once out of the past 4 games. And they have known to do Baron, Gwen, Blackfeather, etc. So Vox could work here with the barrier. But yeah, Grumpjaw is so strong. There's Lyra open here. And Adagio's open as well. So let's see what SK is going to end up with on the A side draft here.
Yeah, still a lot of things open for them and still a minute of bonus time. But that Grumpjaw is a really good start to the draft because you can... There's a lot of different directions you can go with that pick as your first pick.
Yeah, you can generally means you're going to be looking to win the early game. You're going to be looking to be aggressive in the jungle. Lyra's going to come through. Again, Adagio still could make that double heal along with the Grumpjaw, but with a Vox on the side, it can be a little bit difficult to run the double heal because of those mortal wounds that are able to be applied. They're going to go with the Samuel. So Lyra Samuel, one of these combos that we've seen for a long time. But now it's going to be a question of which one of them is going to be in the lane.
And importantly, Samuel is a hero we highlighted with Tyrus, right? This is one of the heroes he can really impact the game on.
I'm really excited too. This is Grumpjaw lane. I'm positive this is Grumpjaw lane, and that's really strong. He's going to get his items really quickly, get that Tensionable Monaco build, and just blow Vox up immediately, along with Samuel and Lyra supporting. So this is a very scary composition SK came up with here.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because that's like what we would expect. But SK Gaming is the one team that would change things up a bit. You know, they tried to run the Samuel weapon power in the lane before against a Vox. Hopefully, Kavalavar learned from that.
Maybe they're about to prove that strategy can work. We'll have to see. Blackfeather will be the final lock-in for Supremacy, though. So, you know, a very standard composition from Supremacy as well. Don't want to take anything away from them. We've seen Blackfeather can be very successful as well. A lot of poke, a lot of sustain in those fights. So, now that we've got the compositions completely rounded out, how are we feeling about these two teams?
I mean, if they had CP Blackfeather with Lyra, I would say Supremacy. But because of that Arden pick, I'm going to have to give it over to SK because Lyra and Samuel is extremely strong in early game. We saw how well SK has played this competition, and Tyrus is on Samuel, so I'm going to give this to SK for sure.
Assuming Tyrus is on Samuel.
Assuming.
Yeah.
He better be.
There's a question mark there because it's
Fingers
SK.
crossed. Fingers crossed.
Either way, it doesn't matter. Lyra Samuel or Lyra Grumpjaw, both are extremely strong in the early game. If they pull the laner down to rotate with them, like they should be able to absolutely run over this jungle.
All right, we'll see if they can get that crazy early game start like we mentioned. Definitely some interesting focus on Arden in these drafts, and it's something that's not really been paying off for teams so far today. We'll see whether that's going to change coming forward for Supremacy. Definitely a lot up in the air and a lot of big questions for Supremacy coming into this one. Now, I want to ask just a little bit more about these drafts. Like, what is going to be the win condition for Supremacy specifically? Like, when you're going into this game against the Grumpjaw and against the Samuel, how do you go about winning the game? What's your first port of call?
Yeah, I think for them is they have to play safe, try to rotate and deny the jungle invades, or counter rotate and not lose too much of their jungle. Blackfeather needs to scale to level 8 with that Shadowglass build. Once Arden gets level 6, use the Gauntlet to make a play, hopefully get an ace, and then just push it from there so that they push their mid-game power spike and not lose the early game.
Okay, so very much playing around power spikes. Well, with that said, it is time to head on into this game. So make sure to get involved on social media using that hashtag Vainglory8 and let us know who your team that you're supporting is going to be. But with that, it's time to head on to the Halcyon Fold.
Alrighty, time for our second series of the day. It's going to be SK versus Supremacy. I'm excited to kick this one off. Jaws, you ready for this?
I am super ready. Mike was muted, but we're good. SK versus Supremacy, game number 1. My goodness, SK's lineup right now. That looks super scary, especially in early. Lyra's and Raph on Lyra and Grumpjaw. Oh my goodness.
The question, though, is Kvalifar's Samuel going to make it happen today? Because, as you heard the analyst saying, when we saw him play this in the lane before, it did not really go as I'm sure he would have hoped it to, as weapon power. That being said, he has a Crystal Bit now, so maybe he's going Crystal here. He could honestly go either direction. I think Crystal is more likely, when you can see here that Tyrus has picked up 2 Weapon Blades and is probably going to be going for the weapon power path. Kvalifar can do a lot of work in the early game here with the Weapon Blade on top of that Crystal Bit, though. Can try and find a lot of early game trades against Waldemar.
Exactly what he's doing so far. Chunked him out a little bit, but a lot of damage from those resonance bounces, just ever so slightly chipping away. Ready, Tyrus and Raph down in this bottom side. Did you have control over that Elder Treant? So Tyrus is going to be able to take away that for free. And young superstar in the SK jungle. He's just at the Unified Championship specifically proved, you know, EU very, very tough competition for NA, and he's just been such a standout performer. And on this Grumpjaw, I mean, that is looking very, very scary. But if you look on the other side, we've got this Blackfeather as well. And Sweet J put it perfectly. How does Supremacy win? They look for a gauntlet and then hopefully get an ace.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty fair way of breaking it down, to be honest. That being said, there are a few other ways. It's not that unlikely that someone like Tyrus goes too deep in a fight, or Raph mispositions, and you can turn and blow that person up if they do. Tyrus, man, his damage early game with 3 Weapon Blades is pretty crazy right now. Kvalifar are doing a lot of work in the lane as well. I think really we need to see SK definitely pushing the tempo here, though. Definitely being the teams to aggress early. The onus is on them to really be the ones trying to find early advantages. Later in this game, Blackfeather Vox, they're definitely going to get out of control. Although having the Crystal Power Samuel mitigates that necessity a little bit. I mean, Crystal Samuel does get quite strong later.
Blackfeather's in a lot of trouble. Tyrus is going to run him down. Raph is there to support him. Tyrus quite find the kill. Godfather being the god he needed, apparently, and is going to use that Vanguard to stray him to safety.
Yeah, that Vanguard came at literally the last possible second, but it does stop the side of SK from picking up that first blood. They got to be feeling good about that on the side of Supremacy. That being said, even with backup in the lane here, Kvalifar is just obliterating Waldemar with the trades. They're going to try and change that. Here comes Blackfeather.
There's the Drifting Dark as well. Whoa. We're doing a lot of damage, but Kvalifar is going to be more than okay. That heal from Raph is going to just supplement him nicely. Now, like you said there, maybe Tyrus might want to look for a play right now. That triple weapon blade already working out rather well for him. In fact, he's found Calm Boy again. That damage is ridiculous. They're going to jump straight on top. He might just go down. He does. First blood goes over to SK, and Waldemar almost falling to Kvalifar as well in the lane.
Honestly, Grumpjaw's early game damage is one of the most ridiculous things in Vainglory. When you pick up a couple of weapon blades, you just chunk stuff down so quickly. He's easily able to go in, very quickly steal away camps. That's another element of the fact that he does so much damage early game that really is relevant in this game at the very least. You can see already a pretty substantial, almost 2k gold lead by 4 minutes for the side of SK, and they've only got 1 kill. I mean, you don't find that kind of a gold lead very easily normally.
That's 1,500 gold already at 4 minutes. Tyrus has 31 CS as well. That's 21! Plus 21 over Convoy. That is absolute massive. Freddy with that tension bow finished as well. I mean, he's going to hit like an absolute... If he didn't hit like a truck before, he's definitely going to hit like a freight train now. Now Supremacy. They're sitting at the bottom of the tables as well at the moment. It's 0 points, AJ. And SK sitting at 5. Kind of at the bottom of where the safety net is, but still there. Can Supremacy really come back and show the whole of Europe that they deserve to be up amongst playing against the big boys?
They do need to make a statement soon, I think. Supremacy has not had the greatest showing in the first 2 weeks. They're looking to maybe make a statement onto Lyra here. Don't quite find it yet. Tyrus is on the way up.
He's just going to watch. Oh, no! From over the wall. Finds the gobble up. And Kavalifar picks up that kill. What perfect usage of that hangry. He's going to find Waldemar as well. Oh, man, that damaged Tyrus. Man. Stop. He's had enough. Back off.
I can't watch this anymore. It's just dirty.
In that skin as well, it's just terrifying.
Honestly, I think I would like to see some early armor pickups on the side of Supremacy. Convoy doing that. Okay, Waldemar just picked up his. You really need it against the amount of damage coming out. I'd also like to see fairly quick war treads from Little Godfather. I think you need to be able to reposition against a Grumpjaw. Once he goes in and burns all of his dashes, it's pretty hard for him to keep the fight moving. Part of the reason why Lyra is good with him, but still, having war treads will make it a lot harder for him to continue putting the pressure on after he goes in with, for example, Hangry.
They're looking for an invade again. Luckily, the Convoy knows better and is just going to back off rather sharpish. Although Godfather's in the wrong place, the wrong time. Waldemar's going to jump on him, same with Tyrus, and he goes down. What a surprise, surprise. Tyrus just popping off. He's working towards that monocle as well. Double monocle on a Grumpjaw, and you can see how much damage he's already doing to the turrets. Imagine that tenfold. Waldemar's going to find himself on the wrong side of Tyrus. He's going to get swallowed up, spitting out, and killed. Another kill goes over to Kavalifar, and SK with 4-0 on the board and a 4k gold lead. It's looking pretty clean from them so far.
So quite often during a team fight, you'll hear me go, oh, like something really crazy happens, right? But when Grumpjaw goes in, normally I find myself just laughing. And the reason is because the damage is ridiculous, right? Like, it's not him making a particularly crazy play. It's just him doing too much damage for anyone to deal with, and it feels silly sometimes. So that's why my reaction is the way it is. Let's talk about what's going on in this game, though. 5,000 gold lead now. We got Tyrant's Monocle, Eve of Harvest, SK. They can just keep the pressure on here. There's very little Supremacy can do to really come back anytime soon.
Well, that's exactly what they're doing. He's finished his monocle when he finds another. Waldemar's going to fall and give up what little he has left in terms of gold. Little Godfather falls as well. Definitely the little man in this fight. Tyrus is level 8. And Godfather was level 5.
This game might be over, Jaws. I gotta be honest with you.
I've got a feeling too, man. I mean, I'm sitting back, I'm looking at the gold, and thinking 6,000. You're tying it up nicely, SK, with your 6 kills as well. Second tier turret's going to fall anytime soon. SK, they got such a lead. It's going to be so hard for Supremacy to...
I think SK, they're just saying, oh, we got to keep on schedule after that, 30-minute game that we had in Game 3 last series. We'll see, though. There are windows. Let's talk about the windows back into this from Supremacy. They do have, a Black Feather. Black Feather does really nicely in the later stages of the game. So does the Vox. Vox especially can get to a point where he can kite effectively against Tyrus. It just depends on whether or not Raph can really supplement the engage. And I love the fact, by the way, that Raph went for a very early War Treads too. I mentioned that I wanted to see it from Little Godfather. But also seeing it from Raph ahead of, for example, an early Crucible makes a lot of sense, because you want to give Tyrus as many speed boosts as you can to keep him on top of his targets. So very strong stuff there, decision-making wise. Oh, Kvalifar is a bit far up.
A little bit far up, but hey, Tyrus is going to be there to help you do the damage, mate. Khan is going to have to back off here. Little Godfather in the wrong place, wrong time. Oh my goodness. He was dead before he got spit out there. Tyrus finds himself his 5th kill of the game. He is 5-0-2. Superstar indeed. There goes the Crystal Sentry. Look at that damage. Clickety, clickety, clack. We're going to have to go back. Sentry down. Turret's going to fall soon as well. SK Gaming looking pretty hot right now.
They are looking really good on the side of SK. They're going to find another turret here, most likely. Or maybe they'll just pressure onto Waldemar instead. We'll see if Tyrus can go in. He's kind of lower health, so he's got to be careful about overextending. That is one way, of course, that any team can give up a lead, by sort of donating it over by making mistakes. Right now, though, Supremacy, they need vision in their jungle so they don't get caught out, and they need to try and find a pick onto someone like Kvalifar when he's shoving up the wave, because Tyrus is being efficient right now, rather than pressuring necessarily in the lane. He's just staying down below hand, right? Below in the jungle, trying to farm, like strangle out all the resources that Supremacy can find. I think that's smart, but it does give a window for Supremacy, right? Like, if they know Kvalifar is by himself and they engage properly, they might be able to get that kill.
They might. I think that's the biggest word in that sentence there.
Yeah, I mean, I could be more specific. I could say they probably won't, but might is what I'm going to go for.
Yeah, just give him that inkling of hope. Gold one is going to fall, though. They're going to extend their gold lead. Ever so scary now. We are looking about 9,000 at 10 minutes. Not something you usually see with a 1,000 gold increment every single minute of the game. They're heading towards that way. As the Broken Myth finish for Kvalifar as well. It's all looking too good for SK. Now, what can Tyrus do extra in this game? I'm not sure, but that Sentry's going to go down. It went down way too quickly. The Sentries were supposed to be hard to defeat as well, and Tyrus just makes short work of it. Bombing it down, and that will be it eliminated. So SK, once more, pressuring Supremacy out and have complete control of their jungle as well now.
Honestly, I think SK could probably just brute force down the base here, so long as they do the correct target focus. Tyrus is certainly thinking about it with this flank. He's trying to get in position to dash behind the turret potentially and jump on someone.
Got double monocle. You're going to one-shot whoever. Oh, goes in. Oh, he missed the hangry, but it doesn't matter. It seems it's the Drifting Dart from Kvalifar. Triple silence coming out for Supremacy. Gauntlet. Oh, he's going to lock up Kvalifar there. They're on the retreat now. Raph is fairly low. Tyrus going for the re-engage. Oblivion almost striking Waldemar down where he stood, but he's just going to be able to dodge out with a Sonic Zoom. And now SK focus their attention on that turret. Couple of crits from Tyrus, and that'll be more than taken care of.
Yeah, there's a lot of redundancy in the strategy that SK can start executing here, because if they pressure a turret, they can't die, mostly, right, if they go for a fight. If they go for a fight, Supremacy basically has to go back. That's arguably normally an advantage from that position. But the problem is that Grumpjaw can kill turrets so quickly that either you find kills and then you find a turret, or you find heavy damage, you force them back, and then you kill a turret whilst they're back because you kill turrets so quickly. So no matter what happens, a push works for SK right now, unless they massively overextend. So just go for pushes, right? Like, just do exactly what you just did 2 more times. Game should be SK's by all rights. Supremacy, again, they need good vision, they need to find a pick. So far, they haven't had that opportunity.
They have not. And now, I mean, there are small increments and small bits of truth, or light, I should say, for Supremacy right now. Dora Blade has been finished by Waldemar, so he's got that, and he's got Poison Chip. So, you know, hitting that 2-item power spike is pretty big for him. Just the consistent team fight that he actually needs to find is going to be hard when Tyrus is one-shotting you. He's level 12, still with that 3-level lead. He's going to jump on Godfather. He's just going to get destroyed. Nom-nommed up. He's going to spin him out and one-shot him. Godfather just looking like he's giving to give up. Exactly what Carnboy did as well. Godfather falls. Carnboy soon to follow. Waldemar just retreating back to his base, and SK is looking to be their game. No Kraken needed. 13 minutes and 25 seconds on the clock. Waldemar, I think he's given up. I think they're looking to game 2 now, AJ. One turret falls. The next one is going to bite the dust as well. SK Gaming are going to take game number 1 in a perfect game yet again, unless Raph, you spoil it. No, he didn't go down. So SK, second perfect game of the day, and there we go. Absolute demolishment in 14 minutes.
That was pretty insane, I gotta be honest with you, Jaws. Kvalifar making a much stronger case for the lane Samuel. We'll see if he continues to do that. But moving into game number 2, gotta look at the draft. I think a lot of people look at this draft and they say, look, guys, Supremacy, you got outdrafted. There's just too much raw power, pretty much regardless of where you put the heroes on the side of SK.
Wrong. Tyrus is just too... Maybe you just have to ban out him, but... I mean, Break, what little game that was, really. I mean, we're going to hand it back over to the desk. Tasty, Sweet J, Joe, take it away.
Thank you very much, Jaws. We are here on the desk. What a game that was. Another perfect game. SK taking that one away. As Jackson said, you've immediately got to look at the draft. It's not like it was a bad draft for Supremacy. It was just that it was a godly draft for SK. Like, I mean, Grumpjaw got through, right?
At the same time, that does make it a bad draft for Supremacy because you allowed your opponents to get a godly draft. Like, that's not something you should be letting happen.
Okay, yeah. And I mean, the Grumpjaw, especially in the early game, Tyrus was just able to run away with things.
Yeah, they could have done a lot of different options. Like, instead of Arden, maybe go with Finn or even Lyra and pick a Rhyme into Grumpjaw. Rhyme actually counters Grumpjaw and works well into him. And I felt like they picked a composition where Grumpjaw excels. Grumpjaw will eat up 2 squishy carries, such as a Black Feather and the Vox. He'll just blow them up with that Tension Bow Monaco build. And they got a first turret at the 8-minute mark, 3 kills, 6 kill lead already, and it was just disastrous. I mean, at 12 minutes mark, they had all 3 turrets down, and SK was at a 7-0 kill lead.
Yeah, and like AJ was saying at the end there, this maybe Kvalifar making a case for the lane Samuel. I don't think lane Samuel was the issue. Previously, it was the weapon Samuel
power. Yeah.
that was the issue. But this was the reason why they went with the lane Samuel last time was really on display here. The theory behind it definitely does work in that, especially against someone like a Vox who has such a short range, you're able to outrange him. You're able to clear the waves so quickly when you throw out those empowered Malice and Verdicts with the Drifting Dark, and you pressure the Vox so that then your jungle has completely free reign because they know there's no rotation coming from the opposing laner. They can go as deep as they want, then they can come up and put pressure on the turret themselves as well. It was just really well executed all around.
Yeah, and it definitely felt like, to be honest, Tyrus was like the star of the show, and then Raph and Kvalifar were both kind of supporting him on that. Like, when we got to the 10-minute mark, Tyrus was 5-0-2 with 100% kill participation. Like, he was just terrifying, and like Kvalifar was able to just do whatever he wanted and just farm his way up. Like, he had a 40 CS lead towards the end of the game.
Yeah, for sure, and SK did a really good job just pressing that early game, and I feel like Supremacy needed to slow down. As soon as they lost that first turret at that early game mark, they needed to slow down and turtle more. They kept giving kills over, they kept getting out-rotated, and SK was forcing fights when they're level 11 and 12 against a level 8 and 9. I mean, there's no contest there. With an item lead, with a level lead, there's no way Supremacy could have won any of those fights. And they needed to turtle better and make sure that they quickly take their jungle, minion can't need the sentry, and force fights around there, and not give over more kills. You're just power feeding your enemy team at that point.
It's like, if you're going to lose the fight in the jungle, you're going to lose the camps anyway. So just kind of concede the camps that are going to be going anyway, and just do something else with your time. Just stop dying, like stop the hemorrhaging. But let's start to talk about the next draft as we move on in this series. SK looking fantastic. What needs to be fixed here for Supremacy? Like, I mean, aside from just banning Grumpjaw, I feel like they've really done a good job of shutting me up about banning Grace instead of Grumpjaw, because that's what happens when Grumpjaw does get through and actually gets picked up.
Well, I mean, there's other picks you can make against the Grumpjaw. I still think there is a case to be made for allowing the Grumpjaw to get through, but Grumpjaw wasn't the first, or was it the first pick? I believe it was the first pick.
Yeah.
But so, like, you know that it's there. It's not a surprise. There are picks you can take to go against it. There's picks you can take that are very strong in the early game in the jungle so that you don't get snowballed against, but Supremacy made no effort to try and stop the Grumpjaw early on.
Yeah, for sure. They needed to maybe change their game plan just a little bit and maybe put less focus on this Ardent Supremacy, banning away Grace and the Baron ban to follow that as well. And now Supremacy, they actually have the option to pick up the Grumpjaw themselves.
They better take the Grumpjaw here for sure. And there we go. Grumpjaw is taken. So super exciting. Hopefully they play Weapon Grumpjaw because he's just much better, I feel, than CP. CP does work though. He's really strong early and mid game, but tends to fall off late game because he gets outscaled by other heroes in jungle. So now SK has Lyra open. They may first pick that Lyra. They may opt for taking Samuel to secure it for Tyrus. So we'll see what they decide here. They are going to have a pick with the Ardent here, and I think they should ban Lyra. So I think SK is probably going to ban Lyra here. If they don't and give that over to Supremacy, they're asking for trouble. There we go.
They'll be making the same mistake that was made against them in the last draft. They are going to ban the Lyra though, so learning from Supremacy's own mistakes. And now looking towards the side of Supremacy with this ban, where do you go? What do you want to deny from SK moving forward?
I feel like you want to take away something like a Baptiste or a Samuel, like something that can deal with the Grumpjaw towards the mid to later stages of the game. It's those two, I think, are probably some of the bread and butters for SK Gaming. Obviously, Samuel very much is because both Kvalifar and Tyrus can play that extremely well. So I'm liking that ban just because it takes it away from both players on SK.
The thing is, though, Baptiste is still open, and that's Tyra's second played hero. And I believe there was like a tweet from someone or something saying, like, I am terrified of Tyra's Baptiste. Like, he is very, very strong in the Baptiste.
Yeah, Baptiste could work, but if Grumpjaw engages, he actually out-damages Baptiste and can blow him up. So they're going to actually go with the Weapon Glaive here, which is actually really smart. Again, into Grumpjaw, you want to pick more tanky carries. Like you pick like a Vox or Ringo, they're way too squishy. So this is a really good a warrior pick. He does a lot of damage and can stand his ground against Grumpjaw. And if they last pick a Rhyme into this, they're going to completely counter Grumpjaw. So let's see what Supremacy is going to come with here. There's Vox still open, Blackfeather. They're going to go with Blackfeather. I'm hoping they go with CP Blackfeather here and keep that as a weapon Grumpjaw. And end with, for example, maybe Fortress potentially. Finn are all good picks here. They might go with Adagio though. They tend to pick Adagio as a captain. So let's see what it turns out. What do you think, Bacon?
I think Adagio would be a very good pick for them. Being able to have the extra sustain for both of these heroes is incredibly strong. It's something that I feel a lot of teams have kind of moved away from a little bit. We haven't seen a whole lot of Adagio over the first 2 weeks, but when we have seen it, it's usually been very, very strong.
Yeah, we've seen like smatterings of it. Certain teams definitely seem to favor it. And I mean, obviously in North America, we've seen it in the carry position a couple of times as well, but less of it in the captain role for sure.
So just to go back to that Baptiste, as it is going to be the Adagio coming through. But I got curious and looked up Tyra's in his solo queue, his ranked games. He is currently sitting on a 96% win rate for Baptiste in ranked games. So I would absolutely love to see that pick come through here for him. I think it does really well into the Grumpjaw. Blackfeather, not so much, but being able to just throw that Ordained or the Fear onto Grumpjaw whenever he tries to engage is a really strong utility to have.
Yeah, I think Baptiste or Rhyme would be the best pick. Rhyme is actually the best pick here. It completely counters Adagio. Adagio's easy pickings for Rhyme to get his 4-5 health and lock him down and blow him up. And Rhyme is actually really good against Grumpjaw. But instead, they're going to go with the CP Kestrel and play the range game here.
Yeah, so looking to... and also, not only the range game, not only the poke, but also with the glaive, you can really set up to blow up one specific target and start a fight off right. We'll see whether they can do that. Is that going to be their win condition then, moving forward, looking at these drafts? Is that how SK will move forward, is just trying to get a singular pick?
The Kestrel is actually a really smart pick. It's because you have the engage from Blackfeather and Grumpjaw that are both going to be trying to dive onto you. As soon as they start the movement, you pop into an active camo. They're going to end their movement more often than not inside the active camo field. And you can then just blow them up in an instant. We've seen how much burst Crystal Kestrel can do. It's really good at securing camps in the early game as well. So we'll be able to do pretty good against making sure they don't get invaded and don't get destroyed in the early game jungle that Grumpjaw's going to want to take.
Okay, what about Supremacy then? How did they go about evening up this series?
Yeah, they got to be able to steal the camps because Grumpjaw will be invading. Or actually, they need to invade as Grumpjaw Adagio and make sure that Kestrel doesn't get those camps, so their invades are worth it. And just snowball the early game. Exactly how SK did to them, they need to do the same back in this game.
All right, well, we'll see if they can achieve that as they move forward in this game and in this series. Can this be a 1-1? We'll find out. Make sure to let us know who you are going to be supporting in this game using that hashtag Vainglory8. Get involved on Twitter, get in that conversation. And as well, if you tweet any good pictures, we will be featuring those on the stream across the course of today and tomorrow. But it's about time we head on into this game. SK Gaming looking for a 2-0. And they've got that Grumpjaw against them, though. Supremacy, they're going to be trying to shut down this SK hype train. Let's see what Best Chuck has to say about the man.
I think the player that I'm looking forward to lane against the most is Cavalifar, just because I think out of all the carry players, he has the most unique playstyle and choice of hero selection.
Very much, guys, over on the desk, and quite an insightful video. And I gotta say, SK looking pretty strong right now. Perfect game in game number 1. Game number 2 is on the fold right now. And can Supremacy come back?
It's honestly going to be challenging, I think. They're playing against Tyrus on this Kestrel, which is one of his very comfortable picks. It's not like his Samuel, right, which everyone knows him for, but he's definitely strong on the pick. Also, Cavalifar's lane glaive is a thing that we see a lot from him, or have seen a lot from him, and very little from anyone else. I don't know if you necessarily have a good idea of how to play against that. A lot of the time, you just don't see it coming. So SK has some edges here very early in this game, just from the draft, that Supremacy need to deal with. Plus, is Convoy's Grumpjaw going to perform anything near Tyrus's? We just don't know yet. So I'm going to be keeping my eye on him. Also curious to see how Adagio does. It's not a big pick right now. It's a lot of question marks here for Supremacy.
That it is. I mean, Convoy, can he do as well as Tyrus can? Or did even. Him taking away some of those camps. He's actually going to spot them out now. And now Raph has got a little something to say about Godfather. Tyrus just raining those glimmer shots down through 2 members of Supremacy. They're going to chase them up as well. Convoy really hasn't got an answer to this. Okay, they might just find themselves with first blood if they're not, well, if Supremacy aren't careful. Convoy taking a fair bit of damage in this front line. Now Godfather is split off from him. SK, they're going to find it. One last glimmer shot will secure him first blood. Convoy escapes alone, but Cavalifar is going to stun him. Afterbird, there comes Raph. Tyrus comes through with the double kill, and already SK off to kind of a mirrored start from game number 1.
I like that they gave the kill there to Tyrus as well. I don't think Cavalifar is really the one you want to give a lot of the kills to this game. Tyrus is going to be carrying you, especially early on. You know, Grumpjaw, sure, you can do a lot of really great invades, no doubt. But if you're going into a Kestrel, it's kind of bold, to be honest. Like, Kestrel is very, very good at dishing out damage early in the game. It was, I think, greedy to make that play when they did. As a result, SK 2-0 up very quickly here, have a huge edge if they want to, for example, fight over an Elder Treant sometime soon.
Exactly what they want to do, just extend that gold lead like they did before. I mean, their ability to control the jungle early on is kind of paramount to what Supremacy had in their last game. Raph in a little bit of trouble. Convoy just can't make anything so. I mean, especially with this Arden, you got to say, it's especially coming up against Grumpjaw in the early game, it's very tough for that Grumpjaw to lock someone down if he doesn't automatically kill somebody. Waldemar underneath the turret. Balafar with the replacement of the Black Feather just secures himself his own kill.
Yeah, it's always kind of tough to lane against a glaive for this reason. Firstly, you can't find kills.
Oh my goodness,
man.
That was cheeky. Tyrus! Where did that come from? Cavalifar's going to be here as well. That's an afterburn on Khan. He's going to make his way out of the fight and back to his base. And now Godfather is trying to go on the run as well. But SK are just going to chase them up. They're going to take away their front healing camp. That will go over to Tyrus. They're 4-1 with a 1,500 gold lead in 4 minutes. Exactly what happened in game number 1. And would it happen in game number 2, AJ?
Honestly, I would bet you that this game gets even more out of control than Game 1. The reason being that there are so many ways for SK to snowball rather than just kind of having Tyrus on Grumpjaw as the playmaker. Like last game we had Samuel for Kvalifar, right? Like how do you make plays on that hero? Sure, you might find favorable trades in lane and that opens the map up, but that's not the same thing as making a play. Kvalifar can make plays this game. Tyrus can make plays this game. Raph could probably set them up to make plays this game. So it's different. You know, everyone has the ability to set the pace here from SK. I think they're showing that already, and things are getting very out of control very quickly.
I think that's a good way of putting it. We are 0-4 with Tyrus with 3 of those kills. So that's a little bit of an understatement again, AJ. You've got to pluck up your analysis right now. Is apparently what's happening with SK, or Supremacy even. They're understating SK right at this very moment. The counter-aggression from them is beautiful, and Carnboy hasn't had the same performance, no, but when he hits that level 6 mark, if he can make those hangry stick, might be a different story.
Yeah, I mean, we're not seeing Convoy have, you know, the same level of pressure that Tyrus did last game. You need to be jumping on people and blowing them up. Currently, also very relevantly, he's not going a similar build. And I gotta question that a little bit. Like, playing a Weapon Power Blackfeather, sure, I think this is probably one of the better lanes you can pick against a Glaive. Oh, hold on.
On a second, yeah, Waldemar's in a lot of trouble. Was that even worth handing over to? Really?
You know, it's your thing. I want to make sure
might as well.
get a chance to talk.
Supremacy aren't getting a chance to talk. I'm telling you that right now. Turret's going to go down. SK going to secure that one in 6 minutes. And remember, at 9 minutes in the game, they were 7k gold ahead. 6 minutes, they're at 3k. So they're on track to repeat their performance.
So let's talk about builds real quick before more fighting happens. Waldemar's going Weapon Power, which is fine, I think, in the lane against a Glaive, so long as you have vision to stop these ganks from happening. But I really don't feel like Grumpjaw with this build is equivalent to the build we saw from Tyrus last game. Last game we saw Tyrus go Weapon Power. That's why he was able to do so much damage. This game is going proc. What is he setting up for? And where's the follow-up? It's not going to happen anytime soon. I think they're setting themselves up to get kind of... they're setting themselves up to have a fight get out of control early in the game, and for things to be too much. We are having the unpause. Here's the engagement.
Oh, speaking of getting out of control, Waldemar can't do anything in this fight. Has to back off already. There goes the hangry straight over the wall from Khan. Stuff is not, well, it is available to him. Tyra's on the sidelines. He doesn't spot though. Glimmer shot is going to find its mark. It's going to kill Godfather off. Godfather's going to have to lay to rest. No horses in anybody's beds today. His head is just firmly planted on the ground.
Yep, and that's back camps being stolen away, sentry taken. SK Gaming got basically everything that they possibly could out of that play. I think Supremacy, their avenue back into this is to turtle really hard for the late game. Because later in the game, they've got potentially counter-engage tools with Adagio. They've got the Stuffed as a counter-engage tool, and that buys time for Waldemar to really ramp up with like a breaking point later on the Blackfeather. Right now, if they fight, there's literally no way they win a fight unless, I guess, they burst Tyrus, which isn't going to happen. So just don't fight. Just wait.
Don't fight, wait. AJ's perfect advice. Raph did actually just go into the belly of Grumpjaw, but still Godfather is going to be the first to fall. They traded 1 for 1. Finally, a kill on the board, but Tyrus is going to get chased out here. Khan finally gets his revenge. Ends up taking off Tyrus off the map. 4-1 and 2 with Kvalifar left alone underneath that turret. There's the ace, and Supremacy finally getting some notches on their belt. Oh, Waldemar!
No way. They win a fight.
Oh, okay. Whew. That was
yeah,
close.
I got to eat my words a little bit. That was kind of a big misplay from SK, though, to the credit of the point I was making. Raph, he might look for Waldemar here. Oh, no.
Raph.
Man.
Yeah, he's secured himself a kill. Well, second one even. He's maybe looking for Khan as well. He's level 6. That gauntlet earlier on. Didn't manage to steal the win. Healing camp, but hey, you got yourself another kill.
All right, so let's break down what went wrong in that fight and how things got to where they did. Tyrus did not have the best positioning. He didn't have anyone between him and the opponents, which meant that Convoy could jump on top of him. And now that he's got a Stormguard banner, damage is a bit more respectable. Also, Raph letting himself get eaten like that was definitely pretty game-breaking for the fight, because his team couldn't do anything whilst he was in the Stuffed, and Kvalifar had taken too much damage before his team even arrived. Waldemar, this time, Jaws, I've learned my lesson. No point in passing over there. Goes way too quickly.
He's just dead.
Ultimately, I think the thing that you need to take away from that past fight is that just because you should not lose a fight doesn't mean you can't if you position poorly. And very, very much that was the case. I like Godfather using his verse there, by the way, to clear the wave. That was something they needed to do, lest the turret be taken down very quickly. But SK, they can rotate for the sentry if they want to here.
Could very well do that. I mean, they eliminated the sentry in about 14 minutes more. They're going to go for another fight here. Afterburn away from Kvalifar. There goes the gauntlet down. Tyra's doing a buttload of damage in the front lines here. Convoy now on Raph, and we do have Kvalifar on top of Godfather. Khan's going to be the first one to fall. Godfather to follow. Ace for SK. Only just. They take the sentry, and they look like they're just going to take the turret as well.
That's more like what we should be expecting from SK. They position quite smartly. They used Tyrus's stealth to mess up the positioning of Supremacy. Raph did not die too quickly, and Kvalifar played with his mobility. Here comes another opportunity for Supremacy, though. They do find that eat.
Oh, hello, Kvalifar. Does Afterburn away. Does get the stun on Waldemar. Doesn't matter, though, it seems, because Khan's going to chase this one up. Raph has to use his boost to get away, but Kvalifar, with the damage, with the DPS, has managed to take out one. Godfather, you're not long left for the world, my friend. Is going to end up falling as well. SK with their third turret on the board, and Khan almost going down to that one-shot, one-kill. That would have been an insult to injury. We are 11 minutes in the game. 5k in the lead for SK. Not as big as it was in game number 1, with inches to climb for SK, but miles for Supremacy.
All right, SK at this point, the game is close to unlock. They just picked up 3 big items: War Treads, Clockwork, and a Sara Blade. That is a lot of, strength right now. There's a spike here for SK that they definitely need to abuse. I'd say, sure, take a gold mine. After that, just pressure turrets. They probably can win a fight under the double turrets from Supremacy, so long as they use Crucible to stop stuff from landing onto any key targets.
Stuff is going to have to be used on Tyra, I can imagine. It's the only real target they want to get rid of, and then they can isolate Kvalifar and maybe take him out of the fight. Being going to get taken out, that will be the gold miner. Going over to SK. And now Tyra's maybe looking for a little something more. Here's Waldemar. Here's the damage. Here's the glimmer shots. There we go. You're dead. See you later. Burst of Judgment is just going to get blocked. That gauntlet was beautiful. Khan's going to hit the dust as well. Godfather is not long to follow. It's my favorite film, but it's making it look like a horror movie right now.
So a lesson to be learned from that exchange was don't back without vision in the middle of nowhere against a Kestrel and a Glaive and an Arden. It's a bad plan. You don't want to do that. Waldemar got blown up before he could even react. Then when he did, it was way too late. Supremacy, they gave up a lot of the map there. That's the final sentry life taken down by SK. Honestly, SK are being more measured and more cautious than arguably they need to. But when you can have this kind of a stranglehold on the opponent's jungle, it does really stop them from getting any resources. It's a fine play. It's just a very safe way of taking this game home.
Game home is exactly what's on their minds. There's 17 kills for SK right now. A despairing gold lead. Active camo traps being set up. Iris has got his sights set on the victory. Godfather's going to have to escape very, very fast. Nice sidestep, but you sidestep straight into Kvalifar's Icy Mace. They're going to be able to take him out. Waldemar's next on the menu as well. Convoy trying to take out some of those shots. He will take about half his HP in those shots. Look at those crits as well coming through for Kvalifar, ripping through the turrets. SK are on the second to last turret in the game. Kvan is going to devour the Kvalifar. He's just going to knock back and afterburn away, though. Khan just cannot take a break. There's the one-shot, one-kill to finish off that last turret. The gauntlet is going to get laid down once more. Tyra's on the sidelines here. Khan is going to fall again. Waldemar trying to make some damage stick, but I'm not sure it's going to work. And Godfather, what are you doing in there, my friend? Kvalifar is just slicing and dicing through 3 members, and that will be Supremacy falling for the ace. A triple kill for Kvalifar. 10-1 and 9-1. SK Gaming are just absolutely demolishing, and they take the game and the series handily over Supremacy.
Supremacy have a lot of work to do going into week number 4 if they want to start putting points on the scoreboard. Their drafts need to improve. Their play in-game needs to improve as well. SK, on the other hand, definitely look like they're moving from strengths to strengths. Their drafts are getting better. They're playing very confidently and very assertively. I'm excited to see what they can bring tomorrow and if they can go a bit further than they did last week.
That's it. I mean, Supremacy, they do stick with those 0 points, but SK looking so dominating. Once again, Munch, you're going to have to break this game down, but I'm not sure you can. So dominating from SK.
We'll do our best, Jules. We will do our best. That definitely felt like a game where SK could quite comfortably just pad their KDAs at that stage, because everyone was on like at least 10 kills and at least 10 assists or whatever the numbers were. Crazy, crazy scorelines being put up by SK. And aside from